What's going on, guys? It's Zork TV here, bringing you the in-depth review of my 2016 Honda CBR300r.
I think I went and figured it out, and you're what you're about. Well, I know that you never run far, cause you don't even answer. Wanted it and not die. That one day you get some and you wake up with your problems solved. Yeah. I've been a fool, now I'm down and out. And I can only go to blow my soul. Gonna feel like I fell in love. Guess I wasn't thinking of. Well, that's enough, babe. Hold me down just to try to keep me up, babe.
So this bike is something that's really special to me. This was the first street bike that I ever bought. This is the bike that I learned really how to ride on and honed some of my skills and really taught me to be the rider that I am today and taught me a lot of valuable lessons. I am so grateful and thankful for this bike, and I love this bike, and I can't think of too much to gripe about it besides for the fact that it doesn't have enough power, which was the main reason why I got my Ninja. So this is the first kind of video I've ever done like this. This is the first review I've ever done, especially the first motorcycle review. And so this one's kind of bittersweet to me, and it's kind of being done in a rush. Because at some point next week, I will be trading in this beautiful, or in my opinion, beautiful 2016 Honda CBR for a 2016 Honda Africa Twin, which that's very exciting because it will allow me to bring a lot more content to the channel, a lot more variety, and hopefully a lot more entertainment for everyone who's watching. I do plan on doing a review of my 2017 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R, as well as after I get the next saddle time in the Africa Twin, doing a review on that as well, both on and off road. Like I said, it's bittersweet for me. I love this bike to death. As soon as I saw this beautiful color, I fell in love with it. I knew this was just the bike that I needed. Sorry if it's a little bit choppy right now. There's construction going on across the street, so I'm trying to split it up and make sure you can't hear too much of it. But I'm gonna miss this bike, and I'm happy that I at least got the chance to do a review on it before I had to say goodbye one last time. But let's get into the review. So I'm currently on my second go around of trying to record the video or the audio for this video because I'm really trying to make sure that this whole review just does this bike justice, and the audio beforehand wasn't cutting it for me, so I went out and bought a Blue Yeti microphone. So I really hope that this helps improve the quality of future videos as well as just this video in particular, because like I said, this bike really does mean a lot to me, and I kind of want to do it justice. Sending it out. That is, if everything does work out with picking up this new bike, nothing's official yet, nothing's solid. It's all just in the pipeline, but it's looking pretty good, knock on wood. Hopefully it stays that way. But honestly, I love this bike for so many reasons, and one of that's just, you can go around town so easy on this bike. It doesn't have that much power. It only has 30 horsepower. And it really doesn't give you excitement or thrills throughout any of the gears besides like the top end of first gear. The top end of first gear is a little bit snappy, but that's really about it when it comes to this motorcycle. But let's be honest, nobody really buys a 300cc motorcycle for its capabilities or lack thereof, for not being able to go fast, but they really buy it because it's a nice starter bike. It has fantastic fuel economy, and it's one of the easiest bikes to own and maintain financially, especially. And even though a lot of people may not like the 300cc level of motorcycles, especially because a lot of people say don't start on a 300cc, there are a lot of good reasons for wanting to start on one. So pardon the stutter and a lot of the weird wording whenever it comes to this review. I have a script that I'm trying to go off of, but anytime I really go off of the script, it sounds too fake to me. I don't like that kind of feel in my videos, so I'm kind of just using it as a reference point, but I might be going off of it sometimes. I'm just trying to make it sound more authentic. So just like any other 300cc bike, this bike is very competitive for its price point, both new and used. A brand new CBR300r will run you just about $4,700 before any additional fees like tax, title, license, and all that good stuff. And there's only one other bike in the 300-ish cc tier level of bike, or sport bikes I should say, that will beat this bike in terms of sticker price, and that's going to be the Gixxer 250. for the GSX 250R, which comes in about right about $4,500, and that's before again any additional fees or anything. The other two main contenders in this category that are still making bikes, to my knowledge, are the Kawasaki Ninja 300 and the Yamaha YZF R3. And those both start at about just $5,000. There is one other bike I don't believe they're making anymore, but that's the KTM 390, and that is a little bit more of an aggressive bike. That the clip-ons on that motorcycle are definitely a lot lower, and they put you in a more of a race position, more like a super sport, such as the ZX6R or a CBR300r would. While these other 300 level or 300cc level bikes typically have higher clip-ons or handlebars, whichever you might want to call them, even though they're not handlebars. But just in case someone is trying to get into motorcycles watching this video. So the clip-ons on this motorcycle are a little bit higher than they would be on a KTM 390 or any other super sport, or any super sport. This really isn't a super sport, it's just a sport bike classification technically. Now, of course, you can save a little bit extra cash when you buy a used bike. I bought this bike personally back a year or so ago for just under $4,000. That's what they were asking for. They were asking $3,900. And I got a few accessories and extended warranty, which came out to just about $4,900 after title fees and tax and all that other good stuff. And of course, you could save a little bit more money if you don't get any of the accessories or the extended warranty, or maybe you can even find a better deal, especially now with it coming winter currently. You might be able to find a really good deal on a used bike. My payments for this bike were at $132 per month, and my interest rate was about 20%, along with, I was initially paying $72 a month for full coverage on this insurance, or for full insurance coverage on this bike. That's gone down to about $25 a month. I'm a 21-year-old male, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because it's really expensive for guys, especially under the age of 25, to purchase a motorcycle. Not necessarily to purchase it, but for financing it for insurance purposes. So like I said, I'm telling you this because maybe you're a young male like myself trying to get into the sport, and you might think it's too expensive, or you might be looking at other things, and it really is expensive to get into, especially if you're looking at more expensive, faster machines, like I said, such as super sports like CBR300, a ZX6R. I can't remember any other bikes right now, and I know I'm drawing a blank. The R6, like an R1, CBR1000, anything like that. So a 300cc may be the best option for you if you're younger, because it's easier to insure. I was paying about $200 a month for this bike altogether, which obviously that could be lower if I had a down payment, if I bought the bike outright, if the interest rate was lower, and so mine is really on the high end of the spectrum. Mind you, I've never had any tickets or accidents as of this time of recording this, so like I said, my insurance might be one of the better ones out there. But definitely the payments could have been better, if at all anything. So like I said, this bike may be the best for you if you're a younger person trying to get into the sport, or maybe if you're someone who's been in the sport for a while and you're just looking for a way to get out around town. So now about the riding experience of this bike, and just long story short, the experience of this bike is honestly fantastic. You don't have the constant stream of adrenaline pumping through your veins like you would on a super sport or really any other bikes, but it is still fun to ride nonetheless. The seat sits at just under 31 inches. It's about 30.7 inches high. For me, I'm easily able to flat foot this bike whenever I'm standing at a stoplight or a red light or a stop sign or anything like that. And I still personally have plenty of bend left in my legs. And I'm 6'3" tall. Even at the height of this bike, isn't uncomfortable for me to ride for extended periods of time. I haven't gone too far though. The longest ride I've gone on this bike personally was 3 hours, which was about 165 miles. And around the 2 hour mark, my legs started feeling like they were cramping up. But for me, that's not unusual for any sort of long ride, whether it be in a car or in a bike. That could easily be solved by standing up for a little bit, or just sticking out your legs, stretching, or pulling over, doing what you got to do. So this bike is very maneuverable, and it's super nice, and that just comes with the lightweight of the bike. And the wet weight of this bike is 357 pounds, or about 162 kilograms, which allows the rider, or me or whoever else is riding the bike, to really flick this bike from side to side and move around obstacles in any way that they need to. And for me, that gave me a new sense of safety, knowing that if there was something that popped out in front of me, whether it's an animal, a blind driver, or just debris or something, I would have an easier time flicking the bike off to one side to avoid an accident, hopefully. So something that ties very greatly into the flickability of this bike and how well it handles, how lightweight the bike is. It's just its maneuverability. And this really will help you, especially if you're a newer rider. It's a little bit more forgiving than it is on a super sport. And so this bike will help you learn some very important tactics and maneuvers, such as slow speed maneuvers, like getting around on a parking lot, turning around on a narrow street, making a U-turn, anything like that. And this bike really handles like a dream, anywhere from 5 miles all the way up to 100 miles. The bike topped out for me personally at 98 miles, and I was going downhill at 98 miles per hour, I should say. And of course, as you gain in speed, the steering becomes a little bit stiffer, which is nice though, because it's nice rather than it being super flickable, is you're not going to make a deadly mistake if you accidentally hit the handlebars too much. So this bike is able to go quite the distance without needing to top up the tank, with a claimed 71 miles per gallon, from which I've seen as well. It proves to be pretty accurate, if not a little bit low for what it actually can do. And has a 3.4 gallon tank, so you're able to go just about 250 miles or 400 kilometers without having to fill up. And this bike is really an ideal commuter bike, and a good bike for someone who wants to get into the sport at a young age, as I mentioned earlier. In Colorado, where I live, currently that's about $8 or $9 to fill up the tank, which can last me anywhere from 3 weeks to 3 months, just depending on how often I ride the bike and how I ride it. Because of course, if you redline the bike all the time, you're going fast, and the gas isn't going to last you for as long. So just a quick few nice things that I personally liked about the bike is that the front turn signals and the back turn signals, if you keep the stock fender on it, they're both flexible. So and it's really nice in case you drop in the garage or going low speeds, or you're parked and you didn't put the kickstand down all the way. I've never done that before. Yes, I have. They're far less likely to break than if they were solid, if they were fixed, and that way hopefully you don't have to replace them. Two other nice things is that on the gauge cluster, it has a clock as well as a fuel gauge, which is always nice to know how much gas you have left, rather than just having the gas off of the basis of a gas light. Also, whenever it gets low, very low actually, the last bar of the fuel gauge does start to blink, which gives you a little bit of an extra nudge to let you know that you need to get gas and you need to top off. But honestly, overall, this bike is amazing in my personal opinion, regardless how you look at it. If you haven't been riding, if you're trying to get into it, or you've been in it for a while. This bike gets great gas mileage. And with a little bit of tweaking, you can either get a little bit more torque or a little bit higher speed out of it if you mess with the gearing. Like I said, this bike is fantastic in my personal opinion, and this could be a little bit of nostalgia, but it really is. It gets you around town, it does what it needs to do, and it can get you really far on just a little bit of gas. So this has been my review of my 2016 Honda CBR300r, and I'm kind of throwing the script out for the rest of this review. All the rest of this review is probably recorded about a few months ago. I'm really bad at finishing projects, and I'm trying to get better about that. Just a quick recap. It has a 3.4 gallon tank. You can get about 250 miles of range out of it, depending on how you drive it. 0 to 60 in an atrocious 8 seconds. Trust me, I've tested. It's pretty bad. Top speed for me personally, was right around 100 miles per hour. I did 97 as a seat height of 30.7 inches. 30 horsepower, 20 foot-pound of torque, wet weight of 357 pounds, and as fuel gauge, which is fantastic. Now this is where I'm going to throw out the script and actually just go from the heart and talk about this bike. I loved owning this bike, and I think this bike was fantastic. Now I'm not going to recommend it to people who are learning how to ride motorcycles, because I don't think the 300cc class motorcycles are that great to learn on. They are fantastic bikes, and if you feel like that might be all that you want, then go ahead and go for it. But I really feel like the 300cc class of bikes is for people who have been in the game for a while and maybe want to step it down and want good gas mileage. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend starting on this bike. Maybe a Ninja 400, maybe a Ninja 650, a CBR300r, a CB500, something that's a little maybe one step up from this. But I really do love this bike, and this bike was fantastic the entire time that I owned it, and I never had any issues with it. And I really do miss this bike. It was very nostalgic for me. But yeah, this was my first in-depth motorcycle review. I know it could have been a lot better. Since starting this review, I've gotten better gear, better equipment, and I would have loved to have been able to use those items on this review. Sadly, I can't though. Because the CBR is no longer in my possession, I have traded it for a 2016 Honda Africa Twin, which I will be doing a review on that one as well as my Ninja. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And since it was my first one, please tell me down in the comment section below what I can do to improve these review videos or just any videos going on in the future. But until next time, this is Zork TV, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.